Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Battle Progression series. I am Silblade and in PokeMMO you can meet me as Gibonos. This episode is a special one. You won't watch another battle against particular gym leader as you were used to. Instead, I will summarize in my own words the previous episodes which were without voice commentary. As you probably know, the first voice commented episode was the battle against Sabrina, followed by the battle against Koga. And I think it worked out pretty well, because I could explain some of the steps I took in retrospect. Although it's true that I still don't understand some of my actions to this day, which is quite funny. The episodes from 1 to 9 don't have any commentary, as you know, and because I think it's not necessary to re-record all the videos, I will briefly comment on the courses, outcomes, team changes, rankings and performances wherever I think it's good to know for context. Because there are 9 battles that need to be commented on, I decided to divide this special episode into 2 parts. Part 1 will cover the battles from Brock to Luton and Surge, and Part 2 will cover the battles from Giovanni in the Rocket Hideout to Giovanni in Silphco. This way, I want to avoid overwhelming you with too much information in one video and help you better understand how and why each Pokemon ended up where it is in the rankings. So let's jump right into the first match against Brock. First of all, I think that the team composition before the first gym battle doesn't make much sense to comment on in detail, because the selection of Pokemon is very limited unless you trade with another player, but as for me, I always use only the Pokemon I have caught myself. The battle itself and many battles after this one were heavily affected by my bad estimation of the opponent's AI. While in the original games the AI is on pitiful level and moves are used more or less randomly, in PokeMMO the AI knows all the resistances and weaknesses very well, to such a degree that opponents can even switch to another Pokemon to gain advantage against you. That was a huge surprise for me, and it took several battles to accept it. This ignorance cost me Butterfree right at the start of the battle, and then also Charmander, who came in a very bad time, so Onix just smashed him with Rock Tomb. The defeat of Charmander was one of many cases where Charmander and his later evolutions fell because of my bad decisions rather than because of his quality. Mankey enjoyed his moment of glory when he defeated Geodude, followed by Oddish, who went on to deliver a series of excellent performances in the subsequent matches. After Brock, I challenged Misty in Cerulean City for the second batch in Kanto. The team has changed quite significantly since the battle with Brock. Rattata, Mankey and Butterfree left the team as non-viable and easily replaceable Pokemon, though I admit Butterfree still had some value as a decent supporter. Their spots were taken by Clefairy, Venonat and Geodude. Geodude was the first casualty in the battle with Misty, because he was sent out against Psyduck, who destroyed him with Water Pulse. Geodude didn't even manage to set up Stealth Rock, the very reason he was supposed to be brought in. The job was instead finished by Venonat, who had originally been fighting Psyduck, so that intermediate step with the Geodude ended up completely pointless. Then I ran into trouble with Misty's main Pokemon Starmie, who easily defeated Charmeleon. That switch turned out to be useless as well. However, Oddish saved the poorly managed battle by taking down Starmie and afterwards even Goldeen with Giga Drain. This performance shot Oddish high up in the rankings, although mainly thanks to the very favorable matchups he had.
Gary on the S.S.Anne was my next target. Since the battle with Misty, the team hadn't changed much. Only Venonat was replaced by Poliwhirl. Because I suspected Gary would start with Pidgeotto, I opened with Graveler, who took it down with a single rock slide. But I made two mistakes here. First, I didn't set up Stealth Rock right at the beginning of the fight, and second, I tried to use it later against a much faster Wartortle. Just like against Misty, Graveler went down to Water Pulse, completely unnecessarily. Clefairy was the next to fall against Wartortle. I tried to land Sync, but two misses sealed her fate. After these errors, I sent out Gloom, who finally took care of Wartortle and stopped his streak. But the real problem was still ahead. Gary's Kadabra kept tearing through my team with Psybeam. First, it took down the previously undefeated Gloom, and then Charmeleon, marking his third loss in a row and pushing him to the very bottom of the records.
It was Poliwhirl who defeated Kadabra, but only thanks to several super potions and a lot of luck. He even survived one Psybeam on just 1 HP, and I think that was the moment that decided the whole battle. Severely weakened, Poliwhirl was then finished off by Eradicate's Hyper Fang, but Nidorino stepped in and closed the match with Double Kick.
In the rankings, Gloom strengthened his position at the top with 4 kills, while Charmeleon dropped to the very bottom. Clefairy and Graveler also ended up in the negatives, and their place in the team became uncertain.
We end the first part of this video with the battle against Lieutenant Surge, the third gym leader. The team composition didn't change at all, so let's jump into the battle right away. I led with Clefairy, while Lieutenant Surge opened with Magnemite. Clefairy's impact on the match was minimal. She was switched out after one Water Pulse and unlucky Metronome.
Magnemite was then finished by Reliable Gloom, who was becoming the main contributor to most victories and whose performance across all matches had been really solid. But Gloom's end in this fight was quite unexpected, as Voltorb used Self-Destruct, which completely blew up my champion. The most difficult test was Raichu. Charmeleon started chipping away at his HP, but was quickly withdrawn because Raichu kept landing very strong shockwaves.
Then, for some mysterious reason, I sacrificed Clefairy. Something I still can't explain today. I guess I was just fed up with her at that moment. After her defeat, I sent in Graveler expecting a clear and smooth win. But what happened next completely shocked me. Raichu used a grass type move called Grass Knot and totally one-shot Graveler. At that point, the only one on my side who could still face Raichu was Nidorino. Neither Poliwhirl nor my badly wounded Charmeleon could survive against him. Fortunately, Nidorino's combination of Dig and Double Kick did the job and Raichu finally went down. Lieutenant Surge's last Pokemon was Elekid. He took out Nidorino and nearly Poliwhirl as well, but Charmeleon's Fire Fang finished Elekid off, so Charmeleon finally scored a victory for the first time. In the rankings, Charmeleon switched with Clefairy, making Clefairy the new bottom member of the team, although Graveler also had very terrible stats. The top 3 places remained unchanged, with Gloom still standing at the team's best killer. And that's all for part 1. We went through all the battles from Brock to Lieutenant Surge, and I hope I managed to explain some of my moves, tactics and mistakes more clearly. If all these battles happened today, I would definitely approach them more cautiously and responsibly. thinking more about my choices and especially the switches between Pokemon. But after all, this is a progression series, and mistakes are simply part of the improvement. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a comment, give it like, or hit subscribe, whatever you feel like. Part 2 is coming soon, so see you there.